with this big story in college football. We've got LSU in Florida. They've had to cancel their game because of COVID. And then you have the big marquee matchup this weekend. Alabama, number 2, Georgia, number 3. And now Coach Saban has tested positive for COVID. And Speedy says, we got him.
Trying to get Dickie Nadmire on the line. Speedy, do you have him?
I think so, if he'll actually pick up.
Roll Tide.
Okay, there
Dickie.
he is.
Dickie, we have some questions.
It's tough times in T-Town.
So where were you when you heard the news that Coach Saban had got COVID-19?
Phyllis and I will never forget where we were.
Oh, wow.
Where were you?
Are you laying down, Dickie?
I've been. It's like I'm trying to have COVID with Coach.
No, you feel it.
You sound like you're out of breath, like you just run to your office or something.
I just ran from one end of the RV to the other. I tried to get on the phone with Calvin Speedy Wilbur and Bubba Bourgeois and Albie Gregg and Helmsley, little Tiny Adler, and Mr. Rick Burgess. What's he going to procrastinate on? Has he picked the game yet?
So what did you think when you heard the news?
I thought about how can I get my hands on some of the hydroxychloroquine.
Oh, yeah.
That'll do it.
If I could get some hydroxy over to Saban. Now, you notice COVID has had no impact on him, as we expected. But the first thing I thought of is, the damn dogs will try anything. They're so frustrated because they can't beat the Tide. Ain't never been able to do it, can't do it, won't do it.
Careful.
And they'll try anything.
Now, Dickie, I don't know if you were listening earlier. We actually had some Georgia fans call this show, and they have a theory that Nick Saban is doing this on purpose as a way to fire his team up and say, go out and win one for the coach. What do you think about that?
Well, it's a nice point you make there, Bubba, because he'll do anything to fire. He's a master of intimidation. He's a master of motivation. He is a master of annihilation.
Oh, boy.
It's possible that this is Saban's plan. Now, here's one of the things that's hopeful for America. And when we get into road Trump. But this is what's hopeful for America. I believe that we can take the blood of one Nicholas Saban. We will take his blood, and we will use it as a vaccine to cure the country of COVID. His miraculous blood with the antibodies of COVID, and then we will make that the vaccine, and we will call it, have you had the Saban? And once you have it, you're a winner.
Oh, you're a winner.
Over COVID.
Instantly.
COVID.
He's definitely vaccinated a lot of series at Alabama, the wins they have over other programs. So,
yeah.
Well, we are following this, Phyllis and I, because we've been on the internet.
Oh.
And we are following a story that is possibly true. As I mentioned, the dogs will do anything to try to beat Saban. We believe, if you remember a story, and I believe that Helmsley or Gregory, and by the way, Greg Fuller says, hey, Greg.
Hey.
Somebody said that they found out that canines can get COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a word that they can that they may not get it, but they can be a carrier of it.
Well, and now you're making my story.
Oh.
There is a rumor that has some validity that UGA gave Saban the COVID.
Oh, no.
Well, where did he come in contact with UGA before the game?
Well, it was something that happened when people, they made it look like a Bama fan, and we did this in memory of Harvey Updike. We brought in just a bulldog.
Uh-huh.
And we were going, do a ritual, like we're going to take a bulldog, and here's what's going to happen to UGA. Nothing that Peter should be concerned about. not like majorly concerned about.
Right, just
Semi-concerned about. And UGA, the fake UGA's fine. And we think that the dog fans might have pulled a switcheroo.
Uh-oh.
And we presented before Nicholas Saban, the rug, who was carrying the COVID.
So, Dickie, how do you feel about when we actually get to the game and Sark will be running the show? How do you feel about him having on the headset that Saban usually uses?
I don't mean to be insensitive, Bubba, but I got a cousin that's an Alkie.
Oh, Dickie.
And they always struggle with it. And my concern is, can this pressure cause Stark to maybe fall off the wagon? That concerns me straight up.
Oh, boy.
Roll Tide.
That's Dickie Nadmire, not the Rick and Bubba show.
Yeah.
And God forbid it happened, but what if you had the pressure of filling in for the great Saban? It'd drive you to drink.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be tough.
I'm going to tell you, it happened to Larry Wayne the last time Bama played for a championship. He'd been clean right up to that game. There's just too much pressure.
So have you
laying in empty bottles of past flu ribbon? And I said, "Well, there it is." I mean,
There it is.
dry out Larry again.
Have you been following the stories that Saban is actually watching practice via remote cameras and sending back instructions?
I bet.
Well, Saban has always got his hand on the program. He's a master. You trade out assistants, it don't matter. You trade out people, leave. Oh, I'm going to go get in the portal. I'm going to leave Saban. Then he just beats you wherever you go play. You can swap quarterbacks. You can swap offensive linemen. You can swap assistants. You can swap linebackers. You can do this. You can do that. And Saban always wins. So his hand never leaves the program. Mm-hmm. And with the modern day technology, he's able to run the team really vicariously from a remote location.
So that gives you hope for Saturday, because we all know that during the game he'll be coaching remotely, probably even wired into their headsets.
There's no rule against that, is there?
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know.
Well,
I mean, we've
find
had
out.
coaches that have not been there for various reasons.
And I think
We've had one that was in a hospital bed in the, up
Hugh
in the
Freeze.
press box.
Yeah,
Hugh
Hugh
Freeze
Freeze,
for
yeah.
Liberty.
Well, it can happen, but Saban, Kobe can't even get him, if you notice. He always says, "I feel fine."
I feel fine.
There's two people that the COVID can't touch, Trump and Saban.
There it is.
Do you think it's a false positive, Dickie?
No, I just think COVID can't beat Saban.
He's done beat it back.
Well, you have to ask this question, Dickie. Where did they send the test? Where was the laboratory at? Was it in maybe Atlanta?
Well, that's where we have the center of disease problems.
Yeah.
Okay. You
It's
broke
in
that.
Atlanta.
Center of disease
I don't know if it's called that.
The CDP.
Yeah.
And that's where they go with disease problems.
Oh.
So you think people at the center of disease problems ain't dog fans? It's in ATL.
I would say chances are Athens is 45 minutes away, so
What's 45 minutes when it comes to a dog fan?
not much.
Not much.
That's right.
And you can't put these people in charge of disease problems. You need Bama graduates. So I don't know what I think Saban is so powerful, to answer your question, Bubba, because I see where you're going. Is it going to affect the Tide? Probably not. Now, we may win by 21 as opposed to 28. Just got a little bit of confusion. But I think overall Saban has proven he can win in any condition. Anybody want to oppose that point of view?
Can't argue with the numbers.
No, you can't.
You just can't.
Wow.
Different staff, different players, COVID.
Now, I see here where
But
it
it
says...
is now Nick Saban's toughest opponent he's faced.
Yeah.
Nick Saban versus the COVID.
Yep.
Nick Saban 35, COVID zip. Roll Tide.
Now, I am seeing here, I'm getting reports that the NCAA did pass a rule that coaches cannot coach a game from home. So apparently that was a story that was out.
Well, let me ask you this.
Graduate.
Let me ask you this: if he is asymptomatic, can they fix an isolation room in the press box
That's
and put
it.
him up there?
Bubba, I have something that I think is even better, and I think it's legal. Did you ever see that movie Boy in the Bubble?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
John Travolta.
We put Saban in the bubble, and we just rolled him out there.
Put him on the sideline,
And he's on the sideline like a very, very dominant hamster.
rolling around.
And he's rolling around, and then we push him down the sideline, and he gets on the referee. We roll him over by the ref.
Rick and Bubba.